Hey guys, I'm John. I'm the regional brand lead here at Allpress Espresso in Australia. And today I'm going to be catching up with Jeanine Bribosia. Jeanine is the founder of an award-winning PR agency here in Sydney, the Cru, and also the co-founder of one of Australia's most listened to foodie podcasts, The Past Food. So what was the original driver behind choosing PR and why have you chosen to focus all your energy on the hospitality industry?
Really, for me, it was hospitality first, PR second, to be honest. I worked across lots of different disciplines. I worked in events and in advertising and in journalism. I was really interested in focusing on an industry that I really loved. I'd loved it, oh gosh, for as long as I can remember. I would never be in PR if it was for vacuum cleaners or insurance. It was really it was sharing the stories of hospitality. And at the time we set up, which was a decade ago now, there weren't actually that many people focusing on that industry from a PR perspective.
So in terms of the current situation, you've got a really diverse range of hospitality clients all around the world. How are you seeing things play out differently across those different niches from bars to restaurants to cafes?
A lot of innovation, I think, is probably the main point, is that everyone is finding their audience and sort of going direct to their consumer, which I think is sort of the commonality of all of those industries. And I think, the industry as a whole globally has been incredibly clever at finding new revenue streams and new ways of communicating, and also ways of sort of bringing their community closer to them and really fostering that loyalty that was probably already there, but they've been able to capture it even more, so that when the time comes to reopen, they have this audience sitting there really, really excited and waiting for that moment. People always talk about hospitality as well being so fickle, like the consumer being so fickle and moving around to the newest and the latest and the best. But I think we're finding people really want to connect with the places that they've missed, and they want to see them come back. So they're really tapping into them, whether it's producers or restaurants or bars. Like, they're finding ways to kind of hook into those places again.
And how has the Cru tried to support your clients throughout the last couple of months?
It's moved so fast. I think that's been our greatest challenge, is that there's been so much testing and trialing and experimenting, which is awesome. And I think that's what we're really trying to encourage. Is it's a time for clients to test out all sorts of things that they may have wanted to in the past, but been a bit nervous about the effect on their brand. It's been a really good time to encourage them to kind of run with certain business streams, and if they're not working, they can pivot and change them. There's no shame in that. There's no loss in it, really. But at the same time, I think we've been really cautious in advising them to try and do everything at once. I think, a lot of people are really stretched at the moment. They're trying to look after their team and their staff. They're trying to learn new skills. They're trying to juggle family. They're trying to adjust to a brand new world. And I think if people are trying to do everything at once, particularly small businesses, they can end up getting themselves in a real muddle and not being able to focus on doing any of it that well. So some of our clients, we've been, recommending that they sit back a little bit for a few days, which in this climate it can feel like months, but just take a breath, pause, look at how things are going for you at the moment, and then sort of pick a couple of those channels to really go hard, and embrace those, rather than trying to be everything to everyone. And the other thing we've been trying to do is help them grow their communities and engage with their communities. In many ways, it's been a really good time to do that. And I think that's where PR really comes to play, is how do you keep engaging with people while your offer has somewhat changed? How do you keep them excited about what you're doing? How do you let them learn about what you are and who you are and how you might evolve, and keeping them abreast of what your journey is, I think, is really is really important.
And you've obviously got a full team of staff and a brick and mortar office yourself. What are some of the lessons that you've learned over the last few months as a business owner yourself?
Look, it's been fascinating. I think for me, it really feels like being a startup all over again in many ways. It takes me back a decade to starting the business and testing things out and learning what works and what doesn't. There's quite a lot of fear and chaos that comes with that, but I think there's also a bit of a thrill. I think we're having the opportunity to relook at what we do and what we offer, and sort of watching in real time what people want of us. I think, it's been a time to reflect on sort of how important your team is, and how important being transparent with them is, and being very like an open book, I guess, in terms of this is where we're at right now, this is what's happened to the business, this is what we're trying to rebuild, this is how we're helping other businesses. We've really felt the full effect of that, because we're helping others juggle their business while at the same time trying to juggle the changes for ours.
For small business owners out there that might be listening, what's the best PR advice you could give for rebuilding, moving forward, and I guess getting people back in the door?
So I think in the end, for a lot of them, it is about knowing their community and choosing to engage with that community as what may feel like a small win. Almost keeping it local first. A lot of businesses, whether they're city or suburb or regional, are going to need to rely on their immediate audience. I mean, you look at a restaurant like Noma that has gone from being, the pinnacle of fine dining and innovation, and a really, almost in many ways, a bit of an unattainable product, and they've decided that they need to focus on their local community, and they are now selling burgers and wine as a way of welcoming their community back in the door and taking it one step at a time. And I think that's the thing, is I think small businesses need to make sure they're being, easy on themselves in a way as well, like starting as if they're a brand new business, starting softly, doing something that engages their local community and they know that they'll get support from that community with. Look at your product, be willing to adapt it, be willing to scale it back, make it simpler in many ways if you can. Don't try to reopen and pretend that things are as they were beforehand. I think the sort of adaptiveness and transparency is what people are craving right now. They know that it's tough, and there's nothing wrong with reminding people that things are different.
What do you think are the next big challenges that we face for the industry?
I think the greatest one is people feeling safe in a hospitality environment. I think that's a big shift that's going to have to happen. People have changed their habits when it comes to hospitality quite rapidly, and I think the rebuilding of that trust and the fact that hospitality will need to look different on the other side of this is a really big challenge. Because I think what we've all realized is that hospitality is so much more than the food on the plate and the drink in the glass. People really, what they've been missing is the service and the human aspect, and the engagement, and the whole experience is the package. And those things are going to be very difficult to recreate in the immediate future. I think in the end, it's going to be up to consumers, to diners and drinkers, to vote with their wallets, to really support the businesses that they want to see come through the back of this, because that's what it's going to take. People want to support people, not huge corporations and, faceless business. They want to support their locals, but they need to know that if they don't, they may well not exist in a few months' time.